Good evening, everyone. This is Henry Gambell with SimplerOptions.com, and in today's free video, I wanted to bring you a couple of tickers that you can consider for the, I think next week they will very much be in play, but then more so as you get into the next monthly expiration, where the indexes are currently sitting. I think they're due for a correction, but of course that has been a hard move to get, so it makes a lot of sense to have some tickers to focus on in both sides of the market. One that I'm going to be keeping an eye on here is Home Depot. So I like the way that it's pulled back down into this 134 area. You can see that that has been generally a well-respected area, or at least an area of congestion. So now that we've made our way up through it, I'm looking for the pullback to hold. Obviously the most aggressive approach would be buying a directional call. You could always sell a put spread or try to work a type of butterfly there around 145, but that is one that I'll be looking at generally to the long side next week. And the second for the bull camp is here in MasterCard. So with something like this, and I always try to tell people, be mindful of the fact, because you'll come in here and say, oh, I think this looks really good to the buy side. I'm always taking into consideration a pullback to the 21 EMA. So if we were to wake up on Monday and this stock is bid, and you start buying it at 97, well, don't let it bother you if it pulls back to 95. You've got to be willing to work the ebb and flow of the trend to try and capture the squeeze. So depending on where that opens, you may find more of a favorable entry. But I am looking for MasterCard to push to new recent highs. Flipping over and looking at a few to the sell side to try and keep things balanced, I've got Whole Foods Market that has done a pretty good job of respecting the range ultimately, but knowing that there's resistance right here around 31, 32, and we're starting to develop a daily squeeze. A squeeze is one of the best signals to take you out of a range. And since the overall trend there remains to the downside, I will continue to look for selling pressure in Whole Foods, and then Disney is another. So a couple of these, sure, you might be able to sit here and argue the trend of them, but what I keep thinking about is throughout this ascent, how many weeks now we sit through the S&Ps, NASDAQ moving straight up? Well, throughout that, these two tickers have made zero progress. So if the market does correct, I would expect them to go with it, and if nothing else, that will give you a balanced way to look at a couple of charts, regardless of how you feel about it. So I hope that helps, gives you something to consider into next week, and I will see you at the next free video.